Perform the indicated operation, then use a calculator to check your work. So we're going to have to really pay close attention to the operations that I'm given here as I work through these problems, because all of them seem to involve 10s and 13s, but we're really going to have to keep track on our signs. So our first problem, 10 minus 13, well, I can see that it's a subtraction problem, and so let's change that to an addition problem. 10, instead of subtract, let's add the opposite. 10 plus what would have been 10 minus 13, we're going to add the opposite of 13, which is negative 13. Notice that the signs are different, so we'll take the difference. We're going to take 13 minus 10 is 3, and then keep the sign of the one with the larger absolute value. So that would be the negative 13 here, so my answer would be negative 3. For our next problem, negative 10 plus negative 13, notice this one already is an addition problem, so we don't need to change anything. Be careful now that we've been doing a lot of subtraction problems. We don't want to go and start changing everything if I don't have to. Negative 10 plus negative 13, the signs are the same, so we're going to take the sum, add them, and keep the sign. 10 plus 13 is 23, and because they're both negative, my final answer is going to be negative. In C, again, we have an addition problem, this time negative 10 plus 13. Because the signs are different of these two things that I'm going to be adding, I'm going to take their difference. The difference of 10 and 13 is 3. And I keep the sign of the one with the larger absolute value, which again is the 13. This time my 13 is positive, so my final answer is positive 3. Or I could just say 3 without the plus sign. In our final example, negative 10 minus negative 13, well, what we want to do here, because it's a subtraction problem, we want to change subtraction to addition. So we're going to have negative 10 minus negative minus negative 13. Well, that means I'm going to take negative 10. I'm going to add the opposite of negative 13, which is positive 13. Negative 10 plus 13, well, notice that this problem D turned into exactly the same problem C when I rewrote it as addition. Negative 10 plus 13, as we already saw, is 3. Now let's do a quick check of all of our work here using our calculator. So if I pull the calculator up here and clear that out, the first one was 10 minus 3. We're not going to need to use the negative sign here at all. We're just going to be using minus. 10 minus 13, sure enough, that's negative 3, just like we saw. Let's go ahead and check C here while the calculator's in position. Negative 10 plus 13. So negative 10, I'm going to come down here and use the negative sign this time. Negative 10 plus 13, we press enter, sure enough, positive 3. Take a look at the other two problems that we're going to check. Negative 10 plus negative 13. So negative 10 using the negative sign. Negative 10 plus negative 13. And we can use the parentheses or not. It's up to you. I'm going to use parentheses this time. So negative 10 plus negative 13. If I use the parentheses, if I open, I want to be sure to close them. If I enter that, I end up with negative 23. And then in our last example, negative 10 minus negative 13, we have negative 10, and we're going to subtract negative 13. This time I'm not going to use the parentheses just to show you it will work either way. So negative 10 minus negative 13 equals, again, we have the positive 3. Do you remember when you're doing your check, always check back with the original problem. Don't check the one that you changed, because if you made a mistake when you did your change and changed the subtraction to addition, if you check your problem after you've made the error, you're not going to catch your mistake. So always go back to the original problem when you do your check on the calculator.